Hey my good friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we are in the 2022 Ford Maverick Hybrid, which has a very unique instrument cluster. And so we're going to take a short drive and I'm going to demonstrate what these gauges and coaches are actually telling us and how to use what we're being told to get better fuel economy. The gauge cluster in the 2022 Ford Maverick Hybrid is a little bit different than the one that you're going to find in the EcoBoost model, in that the layout is completely different. It does not have a tachometer. Instead, on the left-hand side, it has a power meter. Now, this gauge cluster in the XL and the XLT is not quite as fancy and ornate as the one you're going to find in the Lariat, or if you have the FX4 package in the EcoBoost. It has a smaller screen, but the information conveyed on the hybrid gauge and in the coaches is essentially the same. A lot of people have questions about the power meter and what is it actually telling us. Well, it goes from 0 to 100% on the power, and that's basically what it's telling you, because the engine and the electric motor combined are putting out 0 to 100%. And so it gives you a good clue as to how aggressively are you using the power. So when you lay into the power pedal, you can see that power gauge increase. And if you let off the throttle and start to coast, you can see that it goes down to the charge section. And so whenever you let off the throttle, or if you're coasting, maybe you're just going sort of level or on a downhill, and that means you're doing regenerative braking. Whenever that needle is down in that green section, you're putting power back on the battery. And when you lay on the throttle again, there you are with using power. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch this screen over to the hybrid coach, and you'll find that under my view. And so what the hybrid coach does is it works really in tandem with the power gauge to give you an idea of what's going on with your hybrid power. It lets you know if you're driving on electric only, such as I am right now. And as that little square that's around the moving bar changes, that's your envelope. That's telling you if you lay into more power, like right now, you're going to go past that envelope and then the engine's going to turn on and you're under hybrid power conditions. So you let off the power pedal, I'm coasting again, and you can see that I'm charging back to the battery. And now I'm coming up to a stop, and I'm going to put my foot on the pedal, and you can see that the charging's going up. Now I'm very light on the pedal, and so I'm not getting past regenerative braking, which means, guess what? I just got 100%. And that gets us to the brake coach a little bit. And so we're going to kind of move around here on the different coaches because we're in traffic and it's just easier to sort of address these things as we see them. The brake coach, what that's doing is it's telling you how much of your braking power has been captured as regenerative braking. Regenerative braking is when the generator is being used as a brake, so to speak, and it's putting power back to the battery, but that only has so much braking power. At some point, if you really put your foot on the brake, if you're trying to stop quicker, you're going to go past the capacity of that, and then the hydraulic brakes are actually going to be applying more of your braking power. And so to capture 100% or to get the best regenerative braking out of a stop is to have a gradual stop where you're not applying so much braking power that you're blowing past the capacity of the regenerative braking system, if that makes sense. So I'm coming up to another red light here, and I'm keeping my pedal modulation such that I'm not going past that little green bar. And that's a gradual stop, which gave us 100%. The takeaway here is you want gradual, consistent stops to get the most out of your regenerative braking. But you can't always do that, because that will piss off people behind you if you're in traffic and you start slowing down 300, 400 yards before the stop sign. You know, you have to be kind to the person behind you. Now back to the hybrid power coach, you can see we're running on electric power at a pretty good speed here in traffic, and that's one of the benefits to the strong motor of this truck, that it has a pretty strong electric mode if the battery's charged well. Now we're coming to another stoplight. Now I just applied the brakes stronger than regenerative braking. So that bar turned white, and we're just coasting forward a little bit. And so I didn't get a complete good score on the brake coach. In fact, it didn't even give me one this time. But as we sit here right now, you can see that hybrid coach is blank. That means nothing's happening. The engine's not running, motor's not using power, we're not regenerative braking. The only thing we're really doing is drawing off the battery a little bit for the electrical accessories. Okay, we're off again. And as you can see, my acceleration that I'm requesting from the power pedal just took us past that little envelope for the electric power, and the gas motor is now running to give us the acceleration. That power meter went up. And now we're in a coast mode. I'm up to speed, just rolling along through traffic here. The great thing about this electric motor in this vehicle being as strong as it is it gives us a strong electric mode. This can travel under electric power, provided you're within that little square envelope of what it can do, for quite a while. Even up to freeway speeds, if maybe you're on a little bit of a downhill, or if for whatever reason you're just not requiring that much power. Now I'm coming up to this bus, slowing down a little bit, getting some regenerative braking. And what is the point really? Why are we worried about regenerative braking all that much? It's because regenerative braking is how we charge the hybrid battery back up. That's really it. And so the more regenerative braking you can do, the more you can let off that gas and let that needle fall down into the charge when you're driving around, the more battery power you have, thus the more electric power you're using, thus the less the gasoline engine is actually running, thus better fuel economy. That's the rub. That's what it's about. And so when you're driving a hybrid, if you can take the time to learn how it works and learn what it's doing, you can then modify your driving behavior to actually take full advantage of what it has to offer. And the thing is it doesn't mean you have to drive slow everywhere. It just means that you learn how to operate your machine in a different way. You can still drive plenty fast, believe me. Here we come up to a stop. Only 99%. All right, my friends, there you go for the hybrid gauges and coaches in the 2022 Ford Maverick Hybrid. Now, I have to be honest with you, I learned quite a bit over the last few weeks driving this truck and sort of changing the way I drive to help that fuel economy number come up just a little bit. Now, if you want to see the full test drive we've done on this vehicle, in addition to all of the other content we have on the Ford Maverick, you can see that right there on our playlist. A lot of video content there, or click the round logo there and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Either way, stay tuned.